When you live in the big city, you don't really get to experience that. You're surrounded by the concrete jungle. When you come to Alaska, you are surrounded by wilderness.
When you step into Alaska, it is completely wild. I mean, it's so funny because people ask, oh, where are the bears? Like, we are really where they are. This is like, you're not in a zoo, this is where they're from. So it's a pretty amazing place. That's why I came.
Of course, there's nowhere else like Alaska to come see wildlife. Where else are you going to be able to see bears, salmon, whales, all in the same day? To be able to go out on a tour and experience the wilderness in a setting where you have the chance to see an ecosystem come together that supports wildlife from the smallest creatures up to the largest mammals is pretty remarkable.
You live in a town that's land and water locked, it's the capital city, and it's Alaska. It's so awesome to be able to go outside of your state and tell people where you're from. Where else can you live in your backyard? You have glaciers and trails to hike and water as a taxiway for your flight seeing.
It was August 10th of 1996. We've been in full operation ever since. And we're just now about to raise up 1,800 vertical feet above sea level at a slope distance of 3,100 feet towards Sky Bridge.
Lady Baltimore, and 3 years ago she was shot through her right wing and through her beak, and the impact of the bullet through her beak caused blindness in her left eye as it detached that retina. So she doesn't have good depth perception with only one working eye, so she tends to run into things and wouldn't be able to hunt for herself. And the injury to her wing doesn't let her fly higher than about 5 feet in the air as well. So she can't be released to the wild because she wouldn't survive on her own. So the Juneau Raptor Center takes care of her now. She has a 6.5-foot wingspan and she weighs 11 pounds. She's an average size for a female. They can get a little larger than her, but the males are smaller, but males and females look the same. And then once they're adults with that white head and tail, we can't determine their age, but they get this coloring around 5, and since we've had her 3 years, we know she's at least 8. And in the wild, they can live up to 30, and then in captivity, 50.
The difference is that it's real. This is not some Disneyland candy-coated dance hall dream thing. This is real. The core of these buildings are the real structures. Skagway never burned down. Individual buildings were lost to fire, but the whole historic district did not burn. Juneau burned once, Fairbanks burned twice, Nome burned 3 times, Atlin, British Columbia burned down 5 times. Skagway got transported from the turn of the century intact, without its buildings being destroyed by a giant, huge urban fire. Individual buildings were lost, but the whole town was transported by literally providence and luck, to where American travelers beginning to come through realized that this incredible old gray dilapidated town with 3-story hotels and 2-story freighting companies and dance halls all boarded up, wind blowing down the dirt streets. This was an iconic architectural monument to the boom towns in the US and Canadian West. This town exemplified the Alaska-Yukon Gold Rush, unlike any other place that existed.
The streetcar is a 1927 Mack Model AB, restored by Boyd Coddington, who was based in Southern California, who was famous for his TV show American Hot Rods. But he restored 6 of these for us, these beautiful antique vehicles, and wonderful chassis, of course, underneath. And the tour itself is, the Skagway Streetcar Company is in fact the oldest motorized sightseeing tour company in Alaska.
We'll be following the same path that Martin Itchen took in 1923 when he took U.S. President Warren G. Harding on the very first sightseeing tour of Skagway, Alaska. We head to our Clubhouse Theater for a 20-minute command presentation, multimedia and slideshow, and then we'll head out to the Gold Rush Cemetery where we reenact the shooting of Skagway's villain, Soapy Smith, and we'll head up to the Scenic Overlook, a historic World War II observation platform which gives you a bird's eye view of Skagway.
Which we're going to travel on today, is actually Skagway's second downtown. The first was 5th Avenue. And when the train tracks were laid right here in this residential neighborhood on Broadway, business owners on 5th Avenue realized that their businesses weren't going to be visible from the train. So they started to use logs to hoist the buildings up and set them on top of, and then horses and men dragged the structures down to Broadway where they were set in place.
First formed as a town back in the year of 1897 because of all of the Klondike gold that had been discovered.
up in Canada's Yukon Territory. So of course that's exactly why we are all here today, because of the gold rush. Of course, as you can imagine, there was a lot of gold discovered up there, so people got very excited about it. Hundreds of thousands of people from the States stampeded all the way up here, of course, so that they could go all the way up to Dawson City, where the gold fields lie, so that they could, of course, stake their claim and become nice and dirty rich. Well, as you can imagine, many of those miners that were here in town, a lot of those ladies, of course, would follow those miners all the way up here, right? So, of course, that's exactly why we are still standing today, is because of all of the gold that was discovered up there. However, Skagway is known as the gateway to the White Pass Trail. In fact, there has never been any gold discovered here in this town.
Mike Heaney thought it would be a good idea to put a railroad through the White Pass. So he went over to England and talked to a variety of backers and put together a package to build a railroad. And in 2 years, they had hacked out a railroad from Skagway to Whitehorse using dynamite and pickaxes.
A good time for the Red Onion, where the ladies never miss a trick.
Typically the people come by to see the Red Onion Saloon, of course, and they want to come upstairs to our little brothel museum. Typically it's about $5 for 15 minutes, just like the Good Time girls used to do back in the good old days, right? So of course we invite people to come upstairs with one of our lovely looking ladies just like me. We take you on up to the brothel museum. Of course, just a quickie, 15 minutes up there. So yeah, it's a really great place. I mean, we've got all kinds of gorgeous ladies dressed like me, and it's a rocking good time.